Hey everybody, welcome back. We're just going to finish up our cleaning and maintaining of our Hornady lock and load press. I've reinstalled the drive adapter into the subplate. I've reinstalled the priming system. There's really not much lube required on the priming system because you want to stay clear of getting contaminants into the fresh primers. So minimal lube there, but generous lube on the drive hub here in the subplate, excuse me. Now, I've gone ahead and wiped down the press of all the old grease, and we're going to go ahead and re-grease the press. So there's 3 spots on the press to grease. I'll give you a little tour. One right here on the front of the press, on the main casting. That guy lubes the main ram. If you look, let me set this down first. If you look here on the main ram, there's a lube groove cut into the ram. To lube this thing, you raise the ram and align this grease zerk with that grease ring right there. So and that happens to be in the all the way up position. So right there, the two are aligned, and I can pump grease into that groove, and it'll evenly distribute throughout the ram system. There's 2 other zerks. There's one down here at the very bottom to grease that pivot point, and then another one right here to grease that pivot point. I also grease the drive system, which you can see from the bottom here. There's plenty of grease up in there on the drive, the indexing system, so that these indexing pawls right here don't wear out. I had a significant problem with this shifting. As time went on and I loaded more rounds, this thing would shift because these ears would wear, and I'll wipe them off so you can see where they wear. So I've taken to lubing them heavily as well. So you see at the tip of that, if I can get the camera to focus on that. You can't see it very well. But here on this tip, it's been rounded over and highly polished, and this makes contact with this indexing system up here. Alright, so let's go ahead and grease those. These 2 are easily accessed when it's down. Doesn't take much. These bottom 2 don't take much at all until you see grease spewing out between the pivot points there. And then this guy, we're going to fill up that lube groove in the main ram, so it does take a fair amount of grease. And you can immediately feel the difference. Now it's very stiff in the action, and you can actually see the grease distributing itself on the main ram. Everything's looking good. So I'll do this a few times, and then I'll go through and re-grease it. Let the fresh grease flow around. I'm going to go ahead and grease these pawls. I wiped them off earlier. I'm going to go ahead and grease them. The indexing pawls. Alright, we'll do one more shot of grease on every spot. And that's it. Everything's been greased. We'll go ahead and reinstall the shell plate so that we don't think we'll leave you hanging here. Show you how to do that. So to reinstall the shell plate, like I said, you put a little lube on this thing. I use oil for the most part. The grease will come up out of this joint here and lubricate this area. I'm going to use a little oil on these balls, the detent balls, and then smear it around a little bit on the bottom. That's good to go. And line up the drive hub with the keyway there. And the reinstallation of the shell plate is the exact opposite of taking it off. So we'll go ahead and thread the bolt in. Snug it up finger tight. Index the shell plate. Lock the shell plate down with our Allen wrench. These are a large Allen wrench. Go ahead and tighten that down. I do give it quite a bit of torque so that it doesn't come loose. And there we go. It spins freely. No grinding noises or anything like that. And then we reinstall our spring. The spring just sits underneath the shell plate. And install that. And then to get it in its groove here, to allow new brass to enter the shell plate, you index it half a turn, and then with your finger hold this down in the groove, hold the spring down in the groove, and then let it index back. And there it is. It's been installed. Thanks for watching.